right person for that party. So they say. Now, we know they don't stand a chance on the national stage, but even within their party, which is already radical, she's considered too extreme. Democrats later already said that part. Okay, let me go to the next part. Crockett, who has a penchant for going viral during committee hearings with her incendiary rhetoric, had touted her ability to go on the offense during the internal party battle to succeed Connolly. She was wrong, though, huh? She acknowledged Tuesday that people may be disappointed by her loss, but vowed to remain a team player nonetheless. Who's going to be disappointed? Now, matter of fact, I'm going to skip the rest of this article because I want y'all to see her level of disappointment and the egg that she had to eat on her face. Excuse me, the egg she got put on her face. Check this out.
I went through the first leg of this race today, and there have been recent questions about something that just wasn't true because I'm always loud and proud about everything that I have to say. But it did cause me some issues for sure. So I placed last in the recommendation from steering and policy. And so with that, I am not going to caucus for a vote tomorrow. And, you know, those that have decided that they want to stay in the race to pursue the position, I am going to gracefully bow out.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett dropped out of the race to become the lead Democrat of the House Oversight Committee. She made the announcement on social media after learning that she came in last in the first leg of that race. House Democrats elected Representative Robert Garcia of California as the ranking member.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. This is Wonders of a Black Woman. Well, Jasmine Crockett was going towards a very coveted leadership role in the Congress. It was the Oversight Committee, okay? And she was basically at the bottom as far as the votes to get that position. And here's just an opinion piece from Newsweek. Democratic leadership told Representative Jasmine Crockett she's too black and too loud. And I would say that it's not that she's too black, it's the fact that she's black. When Representative Jasmine Crockett stood before reporters Tuesday morning and announced she was withdrawing from the race for the top Democratic spot on the House Oversight Committee, she delivered the kind of truth Democratic leaders desperately needed to hear but refused to acknowledge. It was clear by the numbers that my style of leadership is not exactly what they were looking for. Look, the whole black woman stereotype with the bobblehead and the, you know, neck jerking and fast talking and cussing and all of this, you know, it may get attention, and it's gotten a lot of attention, but it's not effective. It's not effective. She hasn't gotten any, to my knowledge. There's no legislation that she has had passed. There's nothing that she's advocating for except for illegal immigration. She is a representative from the great state of Texas. She stood before black people saying, hey, we're not trying to farm. We're not trying to pick no cotton and this and that. You're in Texas. I know a lot of people in Texas who do farm. So there are a lot of black farmers out here. And why do we need to depend on illegal immigration in order to support these farms? There's nothing that we can do to incentivize legal immigration for picking those crops. And there's nothing you can do to incentivize an American workforce of people who are interested in going into farming, learning about agriculture and things like that. You know, her constantly going at Donald Trump. It's entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining for the base. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I think Jasmine Crockett is realizing, which she did an interview on the Roland Martin show and has done some commenting, that she's basically just going to fall back and focus on her lane, so to speak. She's not going to try to be so visible on a national scale and doing things with the DNC and helping out on a national level. She's just going to stay more micro-focused on her constituents from her state, from her district, which is what she should have been doing all along. But we are in an era where everybody wants to be a pop politician star. You know, they want the attention. They want the attention. You know, it's not about their constituents. It's not about the needs. It's not about policies. It's about getting attention, going viral, saying something quirky or off the wall, or, you know, and basically the Democrat Party, in my opinion, let her know that she was basically the clown in the circus that they rolled out of the clown car to be the court's gesture. You can be the clown, you could be the jester, you could be the entertainment, but you won't be the queen. And that's what they're letting her know. And Joe Biden made it very clear to black leadership when he at first got in office and had that meeting with black leadership. He clearly told them how he felt about blacks and their political authority and power in this country. Here's a clip of what he...
But most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
I think that there does need to be more diversity and conversations within the black community. You know, we all can't just be some monolith that just push each other to promote whatever the Democrat Party tells us to promote, especially if it's not going to be something that is beneficial to us as a people in this country, because we're being drowned out. And as a black woman, even though I don't agree with Jasmine Crockett on a lot of her policies or the way that she goes about things, and I don't necessarily agree with the 92% of black women that voted for Kamala Harris in support of her policies, I can understand that they're putting forth this effort and they're not seeing the fruits of their labor. I can understand that with all the political loyalty that people in the black community show towards the Democratic Party, you will get people, and I've had inside knowledge, they will talk to black people, talk down to black people, talk to you like a dog, make it seem like you're a pest. Oh, just shut the fuck up and vote. I don't care what you think. That is the attitude that people have towards us in these political spaces. They don't care how you think. They don't care how you feel. They don't care how it affects your community. They don't want to see black people prosper. That's why every time any of these demographics out here get any type of fight that comes to them, they start to lash out at black people because they feel like we're supposed to always be the underdog. Nobody is ever supposed to get any smoke except for us. You know, look at what's happened with the illegal immigrants. They're being deported, which is something that has been done under many administrations. You see all of these videos, people backlashing at us. When Trump got back in office this time, I saw all of these videos, people backlashing at black people, even though majority of the black voters voted for Kamala Harris, even though majority of the black voters voted to continue the open border policies that were gentrifying and destroying their communities and taking resources off of off of their communities and out of their homes, off of their tables, out of their pockets. You look at cities like Chicago, they're raising property taxes to make up for the influx of illegal migrants that came there that needed assistance. So the Black community, you have basically been the doormat in American politics for so long. And it's because whenever there is that diversity of thought, you want to ostracize people, you want to shut them down, you want to shut them out, you don't want their voices to be heard. You just want to keep parroting the talking points of the Democratic Party leadership. And they do not want to see Black people make any gains. Yes, they will put tokens in their administration to give you the illusion of inclusion, but when it comes to actual policies, they're not really going to do anything that's going to elevate the masses. Even though Joe Biden was cognitively declining, losing his mind, and not able to effectively govern, he would rather sit there half brain dead than to step aside and let this woman of color step in and be the president. That ought to tell you, Black women, something. And you think that it was a secret Joe Biden was like that? It wasn't. A lot of the Democrat leadership and Democrat donors knew that he was like that, but they'd rather half brain dead, and I'm just saying it figuratively, a half brain dead old white man stay president than to see a woman of color, especially that kind of color, get into the presidency. So when Jasmine Crockett is running around, I get it. She's been working hard, right? She's been putting her stilettos on and fishnets and her mini skirt and working these political streets, okay? Bobbling her head, saying all the little quips and doing all the things she's got to do to go viral to work it. And it got her attention, but it's not going to get her any leadership. The person that they chose to put in leadership over her overwhelmingly with their votes was a Hispanic, from my understanding, he's gay, from California. That's the direction the party is going in. The AOCs, the gay Hispanic man they put in that leadership role Crockett was going for. The open border policies, the flooding and gentrifying the Black communities. They're trying, they want to make sure that we stay at the bottom as a people. And because we are so linked into a party that we think is for us, we don't look at the individual policies that they're pushing long term and how it could affect us in our communities. And we're hurting and we're suffering. So I feel sorry for Jasmine Crockett. She got her wake-up call. She got her N-word wake-up call. And, the signs are there. These Black people aren't stupid. The signs are there. There are Black people that are in elected office that do try to speak up, do try to do things, and they are chewed out and put down. If you are in any type of political office and you're not parroting what the Democratic Party wants you to say, then you won't be there long. You are not there to elevate your people whatsoever. And that's why Black people need to do more organizing outside of government, because you can't really depend on government. But when it does come to government, stop just blindly voting Democrat. And I'm not saying that the Republican Party is the end all to be all either. Because really, to be honest with you, I think that neither party really wants to see Black people really get anywhere in this country. However, You can look at certain policies that a particular politician is championing, and those policies can have a better effect on us in general. So, that's something that we need to think about. Jasmine Crockett, she can go lick her wounds and stuff like that. I get it. But black women, you're smarter than this. You can't keep thinking that you're the backbone of the Democratic Party and that's supposed to mean something in any tangible way. It's not. It only thing it means is that you're the step and fetch it, you're the doormat, you're the person that everybody can lean on and dump on. It doesn't mean that you're the one. They always push the more heavier loads on the black workers because sometimes you're in an environment, a lot of times you're in an environment where they think, oh, give the heavier load to the black workers. Everyone else is supposed to have the easier, lighter loads. Give the heavier work to the black women, and then everyone else gets the stars and stripes and the cake and the cookies and all the accolades. You're just supposed to be the behind the scenes person. You're not supposed to be the forefront person. And if you do get in the forefront, you have to be controlled. You have to say and do what they're telling you to say and do. And Jasmine Crockett did that. She said and did. And she put on a performance of a lifetime. But only thing you were was entertainment. When it comes to their confidence and allowing you to make major decisions and lead the party, oh, hell no. You the wrong color, baby. You're the wrong color. So I just want to go back to the memory lane of when Joe Biden had first got in office and the condescending way he was speaking to, which was recognized by a lot of people, that it was condescending. It was condescending. These black leaders were trying to let him know what the black community needs and wants, and he basically wagged his finger at them, talked to him like he was their angry daddy, and was going to send them to their room for timeout. It's like, how dare you ask for anything? You're just supposed to be happy that you're even able to vote. That's how they treat black people. And if black people don't get that by now, I don't know when you ever will. We're not coming together as a people the way we should and really having the diversity of thoughts and discussions on what we really need for our communities within government and outside of government. And that's why you'll see the high crime rate, the high poverty rate, the high rates of high school or reading levels, math levels at its lowest point. All of these disparities that you see in the black community, because we're not coming together as a people and being honest with each other. Because when we're honest with each other, if you're not parroting what the Democrats want you to say and think, then, you're trying to cause division. You're trying to cause division. When people are saying we shouldn't have open borders where all these people are flooding up in here, it is affecting jobs. It is gentrifying communities. It is taking away resources. You're trying to cause division. You must be a Trumper. It's just like, come on. Like, open your eyes. When you try to say, well, the school shouldn't be funded by property taxes, because all schools should be funded properly. All children have the right to a good education. You're just trying to promote school choice. You're trying to take money away from public schools. You're trying to... it's just anything the Democrats say for black people to reject, you reject. Even if it hurts you. Even if it's hurting you, you still do it. And so when Jasmine Crockett got her nigger wake-up call, I could see the hurt in her. I'm a black woman, I understand. You put yourself out there like that, and you got rejected. Kamala Harris made it to the second highest seat in the nation, and instead of Joe Biden stepping aside, they were willing to cannibalize him on the campaign trail. They should have did that 1 year into his term. They should have been pushed him out if they were willing to do it on the campaign trail, but they didn't want to see a quote-unquote black woman become the president. They'll be damned if a black woman becomes the president or a woman of color becomes the president before a white woman becomes the president. They will be damned. But yet you black women calls yourself the backbone of the Democratic Party. So anyway, we're going to go down memory lane because Jasmine Crockett needs to really get it through her head, which I think she's smart enough to do that, is to understand that she won't have any type of major leadership role. She is the clown. She is the jester. She is the one to come out and entertain and kick up money and donate it to other races or whatever they're trying to put her out there to do. And she had to get that wake-up call because I think a majority of the black people in the country need that wake-up call.
And had a meeting with civil rights leaders. And so we covered the portion on executive orders. What he said about executive orders was not good. There's also a part where he flipped out when civil rights leaders were prodding him to do more on race issues. Watch this.
Of the progress they thought they would have seen at this point. Let's not disappoint them, and let's not get to a place where voters in Georgia begin to second guess.
Okay, let me respond. I'm
Now, it's very important for what he was saying here. Let's not disappoint, in essence, the black voters. And you see with more black people voting against the Democratic Party or choosing to sit out, they had to send a message to the Democratic Party that we are still here and our votes still do matter. Because they're trying to make it where your votes don't matter, especially any black American descendants of American slaves. I'm going to put it that way. When it comes to immigrants, people born of immigrants, they'll embrace you over a black American. You know, they really want to drown out. I'm not going to go there, but they're really trying to, for some reason, there's this long-standing tug of war that they have against the descendants of the people who built this nation. They want to make sure you stay at the bottom. I don't know what covenant the forefathers made with the devil, but they want to make sure that we stay at the bottom. It doesn't matter what one or two people rise to the top, or we have a couple of people that rise to the top. Even those that get to the top, they try to take them down, smear their legacy, see to it that they die penniless or whatever. But, you know, there's this ongoing thing with the American government where they want to suppress Black American people. And so when Trump comes in and he put a plug in their plans to drown the country with these foreigners, that's why you're seeing a lot of the backlash against African Americans, is because they plan on flooding this country with their preferred people, right? And suppressing the Black Americans that are here because, of course, you're going to find it harder and harder to get jobs. You're going to find it harder and harder to get adequate housing, resources, and different things like that. And so these people were letting Joe Biden know, hey, don't forget about us. We helped put you in here. And that's when he all but just cursed them out.
I've got to go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else.
If he was so motivated by Charlottesville and what he saw in Charlottesville, why was there no anti-Black hate crime bill enacted? Asians who had a brief uptick of hate crimes in this country during COVID got a hate crime bill passed just like that. But Black people who have been experiencing hate for hundreds of years in this country and violence, racial violence, there's not one anti-Black hate crime bill that's on the books. Anything that's on the book as far as hate crimes, it covers everybody. But then Asians got an additional layer of protection when they were just harassed for a brief period of time during COVID. And then there was this big hoax that Black people were all of a sudden attacking Asians during COVID. A lot of those videos look totally staged. And that's because they did not want Black people to say, hey, why aren't we being included in a hate crime, hate crime bill? So, I mean, we're constantly being manipulated, and it's unfortunate Black people allow it.
No progressive was talking about it. I did. My son Bo used to have an expression. He'd say, remember, Dad, home base. It ain't worth the job if I can't say what I believe. I didn't want to run this time. I ran this time because of the racist son of a gun who was president of the United States of America. That's why I ran. And you'll remember, a lot of you told me, talking about the soul of America was going over people's heads. They didn't know what we're talking about. The words of a president matter. What a president says matters. And you've never seen me shy away. In the middle of the debate, I called him a racist. In the middle of the debate with him, I took on white supremacists. I'm the guy that took on every single time somebody was threatened in this country. The only white boy you know who did it, period, out there. Every single time. So look, all I'm saying here is, guys and ladies, we're on the same exact page. The same exact page.
He goes on to say, and he was angry as he was saying it, he was like, you do know that the Hispanic population is growing a lot, and there are more of them than there are of you all, and so you're going to have to learn to work with them. And that really is an insight into how he sees these issues. The way Joe Biden...
Yeah, it's an insight into how the whole Democratic Party sees this issue. Joe Biden is irrelevant at this point, but I bring these videos up just because it encapsulates how the Democratic Party and its leadership looks at Black people, including Black elected officials and Black civil rights leaders and all of that. You don't mean nothing to them. You're just supposed to get out there and push their policies on Black people and push Black people to vote Democrat for their sake of power and pushing their agenda. I guess it is going to be more Hispanics in the country because they've had open border policy where people are running up in here. And the Mexico, Central and South America is easier for them to come up here than people from different parts of the world. So with open border policy and people flooding up in here and then having babies, I guess that is why their population is booming. But they purposely did that because they wanted they wanted to suppress the black population. They're not doing that just to do it. They want to suppress the black population and suppress the black vote. It's a strategy. So they're not going to put no black person in any real leadership roles or anything like that. If a black person gets into any position, it is the purpose of serving a white supremacist agenda. That's just as simple as that. And some people may say, oh, well, you're a conservative and you're speaking like this. Yeah, I can be a conservative all day and night long, but I'm still a black woman. I'm still a black American woman. And unlike other conservatives, I don't stick my head in the sand and pretend as though there's no racism in this country. I saw something. So, Jasmine, look, girl, focus on your constituents and what your constituents need. And do something to represent black people other than bobble your head and cuss and say all of this other stuff. Yes, it's gotten you attention. Clap, clap. You stood out from the rest. You got a little attention now. But now it's time to really do some work that's going to have some sort of meaningful impact for your people. One of the things I could say for whether you think Donald Trump is racist or not, one of the things I can say is when Martin Luther King stood next to Lyndon B. Johnson and signed those civil rights bills and the voting rights bills, do you think that he did not know that that man was a racist? Just be honest. You think Martin Luther King didn't know that Lyndon B. Johnson was a racist? But he stood next to him while he was signing those things is because of the impact that it would have on the black community. And he was the person in power, and he had the power to do it. And he was willing to work with this son of a bitch to get something for our people. So all of you people who are thinking, oh, well, Trump's racist, Trump's this, Trump's that. Well, look, if you thought that Joe Biden wasn't racist, you're fooling yourself. We're going to have to work with anyone who's in political office, no matter what you may think of them, to get something done for our people. And that's just the bottom line. People need to stop putting these political parties over policies and over people. You've got to learn something. After all these years, black people need to finally stop wandering around in the desert. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.